Well, good morning, everyone, and welcome to our webinar all about avoiding summer learning loss. It's great to be able to spend this time with you. It's an absolutely glorious morning, certainly here where I am. The sun's shining, the birds are chirping. I've been out for a beautiful walk this morning, and now I get to spend the next hour or so with all of you talking about something that I'm definitely passionate about. So welcome. For those of you that don't know, my name is Rob Stringer, and I'm the founder of Youth Coach Global, and it's indeed a great pleasure to be able to spend this time with you as we try and share some strategies all about, helping your kids be the best that they can be and really try and, get a head start on success and, trying to remove as many roadblocks that might cause them frustration or angst throughout the school year. And I know for a lot of you right now, the school year is quickly coming to an end, if it hasn't ended already, depending on where you are in the world. And so for those of you that are already on summer vacation with your kids, there you go. It's a great time to be able to spend with your kids and do lots of family stuff. And for the rest of us, I know many of us have about a week of school left, and then the summer fun will begin. But anyways, I know that one of the things as a parent myself is, I really enjoy hearing from other people strategies that have worked for them, and it's definitely something that I've made a study of over the last couple decades, and so it's my pleasure to be able to spend this with you. I also know that some of you on the call today have been to some of my live events and have also been with me, following me or interacting or for us being able to do some neat stuff together for the last couple of years, and that's great. But there may be some of you that are listening to this live or on the replay that perhaps aren't quite sure who I am, and maybe you found a link to this, shared with you on Facebook or in social media, or a friend emailed it to you, and so you might be thinking, hey, who is this guy? The topic sounds great, but why should I listen to him? And I think that's a great question. So let me just spend a minute and just give you a brief introduction. As I mentioned, my name is Rob Stringer. For the last, 22, 23 years, I've been an elementary school teacher and really trying to help kids, succeed and live lives they love, both in the classroom and out. And we definitely have lots of fun. I think here in these slides, you'll see me dressed up as my own guest speaker as we time travel back to medieval times. And every year I always write a Christmas play or a holiday play for my class to present. And we do lots of fun. We really try and bring learning alive. And as well, in addition to that, for almost, a decade now, it's been about 8 or 9 years, I've been a certified professional life coach. And for the last 4, I have been fortunate enough to work with amazing people around the world as the founder of Youth Coach Global, which is an organization that is dedicated to helping kids live lives they love. And we work, as some of you may know, with youth is the main focus, and so we work definitely one-to-one and in group settings with youth, either through offering private or group coaching or doing webinars or seminars or live events. But we also work with the other people that are so key, in our kids' lives, and that is parents such as yourselves and educators. And we do all kinds of great things in schools for parents as well as the staff that's there as well. So that's a little bit of my background. And again, one of the things that you'll find that may be a little bit different about this webinar from others that you've been to is I really don't stand here and say, hey, you know what, this is what you need to do, and I'm the expert, and just listen to me, and boy, will your life be different. I take a much more coach-like approach, and that is what I say is my goal here today is really to, get you to be curious and just to, see if there are some ideas that are presented today that sound like, they might be useful or they resonate with you, because I do recognize and acknowledge the fact that, we each have unique families. And what works for one person won't necessarily work for another. And so that's why it's really about, inviting you to get curious and presenting some different ideas and just sort of seeing if there's something that you can walk away with today. And I'm sure that there will be. I'm quite confident in that you can use right away. And in other cases, maybe we're planting seeds and giving you ideas for future use. So there we go. All right. Well, let's get on with the show. And I know too, as well, that there's some of you that probably really enjoy seeing the big ticket or big picture, overview of what it is we're doing. So here it is very quickly. Basically, we're going to talk a little bit about, probably in 30 seconds or less, about what actually is learning loss. Because this is actually a scientifically documented thing that occurs. And of course, the real meat of the presentation today will be sharing with you, 5 simple things that you can do, 5 simple activities or 5 opportunities that are going to engage your kids, and keep everyone, happy, healthy, engaged, keep their brains moving and really ward off or inoculate them against that summer learning loss. And of course, we want to make sure that everyone keeps smiling, including you. So these are going to be, a range of activities. Many are free. Many don't really involve much time on your part, because I also recognize and acknowledge just how busy all of you are as well. And of course, at the end, we can always open it up to a little Q&A session if people have questions, or certainly for those of you that are here at the live event, if you are online, you'll notice that there is a chat box. And so feel free to enter in your questions at any time in the chat box, and that would be great. And of course, at the very end, you're definitely going to stay to the very end, because I'm going to be sharing some next steps and tell you about a really great resource that I think, if you've really enjoyed what you're getting out of this presentation today, you're definitely going to want to hear about this resource as well. All right, well, on with the show. So I realize that, there are certain things that, are difficult, that are challenging for us, when it comes to, summertime as parents. When you take a look here at these pictures, don't they look happy? They're excited. Here we are on the first day of summer vacation and, they're so happy and excited. But of course, by the second day, they might start to look like this, where, we start to hear, the refrain of, I'm bored, or what, there's nothing to do, things like that. So we're definitely going to be able to share with you some strategies that are going to hopefully help be able to combat and avoid hearing that. As well, some of your challenges might be that, you know that there's some things that you'd like to do to help the kids, but, wouldn't it be nice, instead of having to spend all kinds of time and coming up with them on your own, if you could just, have someone basically point you in the right direction to some great resources? And that's definitely one of the things that I'm hoping to do here today. And again, for those of you that are here live in the chats, you'll notice that there's a link there for a handout that I'll be referring to as well, and that will help figure out some of the places where you can find some great resources. And of course, one of the challenges of summer vacation and keeping our kids engaged is oftentimes it can be really expensive. There are a million ways out there to spend your money, or for your kids to spend your money. But, I realize that, the bank of mom and dad, being a dad myself, does not have inexhaustible funds. And so if there's anything that we can do to try and help you save a few dollars, and be able to still meet the same goals of keeping your kids happy, healthy, and engaged, then that's probably a good thing. And that's something that we'll do today. But the main reason and the main challenge, I think, that, and this may be something that you're aware of or maybe not, and I'll be honest, up until about, 5+ years ago, this was something that I had never necessarily heard of. And I'll tell you, I've been in education for over 2 decades, but I ran across some studies that basically showed, and I think it was about in 1996, there was a synthesis of 39 separate studies, and researchers found that the average student returning to school in September has lost the equivalent of anywhere from 1 month to almost 3 months of previous learning. basically, it's been erased, from their minds. And that's kind of scary. And I don't know about you, but I know as a teacher in the classroom how hard I work to try and get, these kids to, make great gains through the year. And I know as a parent, you're right there as well, helping them study and keep engaged and do their homework and all of that great stuff. And so, it seems almost, silly or scary, I think is even a better word, that, some of our hard work can be undone. And so the little graph in the corner here basically just kind of shows how if you take a look at that bottom line, how, they make great gains in one grade and then the summer comes and they zip down. And then they make great gains and then they, fall back again. And it's almost like climbing stairs. Or almost like mountain peaks. And what some people have found as well is that, by the time they, get to, somewhere like, the beginning of high school, just from the summer alone, they could be, a whole year behind. And oftentimes in school, September is often, generally spent on, trying to get the kids to remember and relearn and, just doing a lot of remedial sort of work. And so wouldn't it be nice if we could be more like the blue line in this graph where, there might be a slight gain. Maybe they're not learning quite as quickly. The slope is slightly less, but it's still an upward slope, or at least level as opposed to a downward slope. And so that's what we want to do. As it turns out, I didn't actually include the labels in that graph, but it's interesting too that there can be correlations between income as well. And I believe in this original graph, it was showing that this is actually showing the difference between higher income families and lower income families, with the lower income having often greater learning loss in the summer, the red line, and there being an achievement gap that grows over time as well. But certainly it can happen, I think, at any level. And so that's what we're going to basically try and show you how to avoid today. And hopefully that's going to be something that excites you. So, as I mentioned, we're going to show you 5 ways or 5 different opportunities, things to think about that might work for you as far as helping to actually achieve this. So, here we go. So the first thing, and again, not wanting to create lots of extra work for you. I know how busy everyone is, so is just taking a look at your, at your everyday schedule, the way it is right now. What are some of the things that you do on a regular basis, either every day or every week? And there can be some great ways of helping to, engage your kids in these things. And the other thing that I didn't mention before is that the research shows that, most of the losses, typically have to do in the areas of math and reading. And so what you'll find is a lot of the different things that I share with you today really focus in on sort of math and reading. And I'll try and really hit a range of different age groups as well. And so it's when we take a look at, what are some of the things that we do every day? Well, let's take a look at shopping. What are some things that you could do? If you take your kids grocery shopping, or shoe shopping or clothes shopping or whatever, there are lots of different things. So for example, you could have the kids, count the items in the shopping cart if they're really little, or, sort them by size or shape, things like that. One thing I used to do with my kids when I take them grocery shopping is, we'd play, games. And sometimes it might be, who could be closest in estimating the total cost of everything that we're purchasing that day. And so, we basically have to learn about, estimating and, some good mental math as we're adding, oh, well, this can of beans, this is about, $1. And this, oh, we have 2 of these and these are about $1.50 each. Okay, so that's $3 plus that $1, oh, $4. And you get the idea. And, that works out really well. And as well, you could also give the kids the weekly flyers if they deliver to your home and have them calculate the cost of maybe, preparing their favorite meal. So picking different items from the flyer, or even, figuring out, what are some different items that, if you had $10 what could you buy for $10? Or, how much will we save this week if we shop the sales or coupons, and, give them some of the different items from the flyer that you're thinking of purchasing and maybe the quantities. So shopping definitely is a great way of, just automatically, building in things with money. And as well, hey, I used to actually get my kids, back when I paid with cash as opposed to credit cards now, but I used to actually, let my kids pay. So I would give them the money, and they would give it to the cashier, and then they'd have to count the change and make sure that we got the correct change, and things like that as well. So there's really a lot that you can do there. And with cooking, I know, again, math is everywhere in cooking, and especially, with baking, because there's a lot of measurement, and if you're like me, I love to cook because you don't really have to measure. It's like, a pinch of this, a dash of that. I actually went and started my chef's training many years ago. So I feel very at home in the kitchen and absolutely love cooking. And I think I get that a lot from my mom as well, who always got us involved as young kids in the kitchen. My wife, however, is a fantastic baker because she is very scientific and she doesn't mind measuring all those things. But, why not involve your kids, and, have them either help you or on their own, make a cake or some brownies, or maybe, they have a favorite recipe. And again, just think of all the, measuring and adding and subtracting. And especially, if you double the recipe, hey, all of a sudden now we have addition or multiplication and different things like that. And as we'll talk about a little bit later, when we talk about the potential of starting a business, all of this great stuff could either be, enjoyed as a family, and, maybe, you're celebrating something, or, you're making it just because everyone really likes cake in your family. But, then again, maybe instead of a lemonade stand, maybe you're going to sell cookies or brownies, to people in your neighborhood or things like that. Again, bringing in even more math. And many of us like to take some kind of family trip. Whether it's a day trip on a weekend or maybe it's something a little bit longer. But again, the car, if it's a road trip, it's a great place to be able to bring in lots of math and reading. So you might have some counting games in the car. Maybe you're counting, how many cows people see, or how many road signs, or you do counting games with license plates. There's all kinds of different counting games that are out there. Maybe if your kids are a little bit older, they can become the trip advisors, and they can actually go online and calculate the distance between attractions and, how much it's going to cost, and figuring out all the different things related to the trip, and even help plan it, which is great. And of course, that glove box, is something that often is not, really well used. And so I always suggest to parents, why not go to the dollar store or some, other store that sells inexpensive goods, or a local teacher store, and basically, buy some flashcards. And, have a deck of flashcards in there for, addition or subtraction, multiplication, division, elements of the periodic table. It doesn't really matter, whatever, is appropriate, for the age of your son or daughter. And, if you've got 5 minutes or 10 minutes between, driving from the house to, dance practice or the soccer game or things like that, what? Pull out the flashcards. Or if you're on a longer trip, then you can always, bring out different games as well. And trivia games are great for that as well. And certainly, anything that has, writing on it where they have to read the card, you're also bringing in the great reading strategies as well. And I think one thing that we sometimes forget about is, we think, if we're going to have our kids, grow and strengthen their reading skills or their reading muscles, that it needs to be books or, novels, chapter books, picture books, things like that. But it doesn't. It could be words in a cereal box. It could be, on a game card. It could be reading signs along the way on the road. It doesn't really matter. Reading is reading as long as it's words. So those are just a few things there. And of course, there's other things that we measure all the time. So, getting kids to, estimate, whether it's weights, if you're weighing things, or maybe, you're going somewhere else, and, there's time involved, so getting kids to get, better at estimating how long this will take, or how long were we in the car, or even better, telling time. I know that every year, in grade 3 or 4, where I spend a lot of my teaching time, kids just don't really know how to often tell time, and especially with analog clocks. So, spending a little bit of time with them, just, as you're going through your day, doesn't have to be anything special or fancy, but, helping them learn to tell what time it is, and be able to read analog and digital clocks, or even calculate elapsed time. Honey, if we start driving at 9 o'clock and we finished at 9:27 or 9:25, how long did it take us to get here? Learning that, there's 5 minutes between each number and counting by fives, whatever. It's really a good thing that's so easy to do. No extra time is required, or money, and it's something, again, very simplistic, but can help inoculate against that summer learning loss and strengthen that math part of our brain. All right. And I don't see any questions on the chat yet, so I'm going to keep on going. And then, as I said, we can always open it up to Q&A at the very end. As well, one of the other opportunities is to take a look at, what are the things that get our kids really excited to begin with? Do they have any strengths, talents, passions, interests, all of those great things? And, why not build upon those? It's a strategy that I share with parents all through the school year, but it also works really well in the summer as well. So, if you have a reluctant reader, well, maybe one of the things is they're just bored with what it is. If you've got a son, as an example, or a daughter who's like really into sports and athletic and just loves all kinds of, things where, he or she are, moving or whatnot, reading a book about, a mystery or, animals or things like that may not really, excite him or her. So, but, maybe if it was a book about, a favorite sport, and it might be fiction, it might be a make-believe story, but then again, it may be nonfiction. And I know right now at the time of this call, the World Cup is on. And so, if they're really into soccer and World Cup, maybe, reading web pages about their favorite teams, or going to the store and purchasing some books or magazines or things like that on that. So again, reading can be anything. It can be instructions, it can be books, it can be manuals, it can be cards, it can be reading in games. So really take a look at what it is they're interested in, and see if you can find something related to that they can read. And as far as writing, sometimes, again, as an educator, there's one thing that I learned, and that is not everyone gets excited about the same topic. So why not, encourage them or invite them to do some writing based on their, talent or their interest or what they're passionate about. Maybe it'll be a story. Maybe it'll be an article. Maybe they want to write an article and submit it to, a local community newspaper, or they'd like to, post it on, a blog. Depending on their age, they might already have their own blog or things like that, or in some kind of forum. As well, maybe I have some kids as early as, 8 and 9 years old that are already, writing books, that, they're not the world's longest books, but, they're just so engaged and excited about topics that they want to be able to share that. Or, as well, maybe you have, especially for those kids that are a little bit more active or maybe a little bit more creative or whatnot, what about a script for a video? It might be a how-to video showing, how to do something that they really enjoy or that they're really good at, and they could share it, maybe with a little bit of your help, depending on their age, on YouTube. It might be about Lego. Maybe it's about, how to do the latest dance move that they've learned, at their dance competitions or things like that. So there's all kinds of different things that we can get them to write about. And of course, math related to this, well, if they're into sports, everyone seems to, know what the latest stats are, statistics are about their favorite players or teams. So why not teach them how to calculate that, or that, this is some real world math. And sometimes they're like, really? Oh, that's math? Oh, wow. Oh, I thought math was boring. But in fact, gee, I never really thought about it like that. Or seeing if there are, some different calculations throughout the day they might be able to help you with. And certainly, one of the things, if you are going to, possibly, have them do some math review over the summer, and you're not necessarily getting books, purchasing books or downloading things off the internet, you can end up making up your own word problems for your kids as well. And again, base it on their interests. So, if your son or daughter was really interested in, baseball, for example, or maybe they play on a team or something, it could be something as simple as, hey Mark, so here's a problem for you. In the first inning of your baseball game, you scored, 3 runs, and then in the second and third innings, you scored 2 more runs each time. How many runs did you score altogether for your team? Things like that. So basically just, making up problems based on whatever their current interest is. All right. And the third one, of course, is also, take a look at, what's going on in your community. Okay, look at the local resources. And depending on where you live, certainly if you're in an urban setting, you probably have access to a public library. And I know around here, where I am in Ontario, Canada, that our local libraries are usually quite amazing at offering summer programs. And again, they're free of charge, and so they might have a daily reading program, or some have programs for writers, and they're often for school-age kids as well as for kids that are in high school. And so there are some different things to take a look at, through your local library. And it might be, too, that, they go there in the morning and they spend a few hours at the library. Or maybe, it's through the YMCA or some, Boys and Girls Clubs or different youth clubs that they often run programs as well. And it depending, sometimes there may be a small fee. Sometimes it's free. And again, those are just some great ways of getting their brains engaged. And, depending on what it is, it might involve math and writing and reading and things like that. But then again, it may not. It may just involve, strategic thinking or playing games, and sort of getting their brains engaged. And of course, that also brings up another important point, and that is, fitness and activity is definitely linked to improved learning as well. So if there's anything that we can do as parents to try and help our kids stay engaged and active and healthy in that regard, even if it's not, doesn't seem like it might be directly helping to improve their math, for example, it probably is, because, there's that increased blood flow to the brain, and all of those other things of, reducing stress and getting them up and moving and things like that. So just something else to think about. And of course, there's always, local museums that often will run programs, or if not, and again, this might be something that you're into. I love museums, whether they're art museums or historical museums or that. So I've always taken my kids, to all kinds of different ones, whether they're local or, we travel to different cities and that, and, so many wonderful opportunities for learning at a museum as well. All right. And of course, there may be other local resources that you can think of. I know, again, we talked about taking a look at things that we do on a regular daily basis. I mean, another great resource too is, a farmer's market, or somewhere like that where, a flea market where maybe you go. And again, it's all about using our math skills and our reading skills as we go there and find out other great things. All right. I'm just going to take a quick sip of water here. I apologize if there's any noise, but fabulous. Oh, best water ever, I tell you. All right. Let's go on to number 4. And I know that for some of you, this is something that your kids are doing already. And there might be a way that I can help focus you on the direction of some resources, or it might be something to consider, and that is engaging your kids with technology. And depending, you might already have computers or laptops or iPads or iPhones or iPods or whatever other technology might be in your home. And if you don't, that's okay too. It might be that they have access to it either at a local library or in some other way as well. But here are a few ideas. Definitely, there are lots of great online games and websites that are out there. And one of the resources that I have listed here in the link is to 8 great websites that I think, some of which you may have run across before, but I'm sure you probably haven't run across all of them. Definitely worth checking out. And again, they're from basically from early elementary school all the way up through high school. And as well, you might even consider, becoming, pen pals or e-pals, some different way of using technology to communicate, with cousins or distant relatives or maybe even scientists or sports figures. There are a lot that actually, have websites that you can actually, email them. And and they'll respond back to you, which is really cool. And I know Chris Hadfield, as an example, one of our great Canadian astronauts. There you go. I was losing my train of thought there. Has done an amazing job of communicating with kids. But there are also expeditions that often go to the North Pole, the South Pole, different parts of the world, and again, they will actually communicate from the field with kids as well. Here, great picture here of a couple of kids using a video recorder, and they're making a movie. And these days, it's so easy to be able to, make videos or movies or that. So, if you have access or your kids have access to, something, that has a built-in camera feature in it, why not, set them loose and let them make a little video or movie. And again, that can relate back to their talents, passions, interests, hobbies. It can make it could even be something about, making a movie about going shopping, or maybe they do like a cooking show. I know some of us watch, the Food Network and things like that. So maybe they want to try making their own cooking show. Or it's related to an interest of theirs in science. Or I have some kids in my class that, make ones about, aliens coming into their home and all kinds of, fun things. And, does it have to be, Steven Spielberg quality? Absolutely not. Who knows? Maybe you have a budding future director, in your home, but, they often just enjoy it's fun. It's a chance to be silly and see themselves on film or do different things. And so again, using whatever it is you have, whether it's a cell phone or it's a digital camera or something like that, or even borrowing one oftentimes, from a relative or a family member, and then using free software that you can download off the internet. They can, edit them, or they can just upload them directly, to YouTube or to different places as well. And again, it doesn't have to cost anything, and it can be hours, if not days or weeks, of fun. And of course, there's also it's a great way too, using technology just to review areas of need. So digging out those past report cards and taking a look. Is there a website or an online game or a way that you can use that to really help strengthen those areas. And of course, don't forget, when they're doing any of these things, whether they're online playing a game or on websites or uploading or downloading or reading the instruction manual for the camcorder, whatnot, reading is reading, and so that's wonderful as well. All right. Well, we're up to our very last one, and it's all about starting a business. Now, this is something you may have thought of before, or then again, maybe not. And depending on the age of your kids, it's something that they might be able to do quite independently, or, it might be something that, you would enjoy helping them with. Or maybe they even have an older brother or sister that could help them. And of course, we often think about lemonade stands or things like that. But there are lots of different types of businesses as well. And one of the workshops and things that we often help kids with through Youth Coach Global is youth entrepreneurship programs and helping them actually start businesses. So, when we talk about businesses, there are service-based businesses. Those are things like, having them, go around and see if they can, cut people's grass or do some landscaping, or, babysitting, things like that. Or maybe if your kids are a little bit older, developing, websites or doing some web design for local businesses. And of course, then there's active sales, where, they actually have to be there and present to sell something. So, that's the lemonade stand. Or back to, all that great baking you were doing with the measuring, well, maybe now they're selling it. And, even if they're recouping the cost of the ingredients, you know what? It doesn't end up costing you anything. Or maybe they'll even make a profit, and they can reinvest that money. And there's lots of good learning that can go with that as well. So, it might be that they're selling things as mentioned, or it could also be passive sales. And that kind of just depends on their age as well. So, when we're talking back about writing and maybe writing a book or something like that, something that they're interested in, well, you know what? If they actually, can do a good job and they have information or tips or strategies or skills or different things that they can write down, and other people might be interested, you can actually, turn that very easily, into a PDF, create basically a little special report or an ebook, and you can make some passive sales with that. So you can post it on the internet. There's lots of different ways of doing that and sell it online. And the great thing about passive sales is, you could be traveling, you could be sleeping. In fact, just the other day, I woke up and I found that, oh, look, while I was sleeping, I sold some more ebooks online. So that's a great thing. You don't have to actually be there at the store or making that sale. They can be happening when you're not even around. So those are a few things to think about as well. The nice thing about starting a business as well is it often helps kids, learn more about themselves, right? And sometimes they, discover strengths and talents and interests that they didn't even realize that they had. It can definitely make school relevant or even more relevant, as they, need to be able to use, math skills to figure out, how much money they made or what the cost of things are going to be. Or maybe, as they're making out flyers, or signs to post, all of a sudden, hey, spelling, counts, or making things look good, and whatnot. So again, starting a business, even at a young age, there's a lot of really positive things, and including, teaching kids about, failure and risk-taking and resiliency and success. And definitely learning about, time and money and value and definitely having some fun. And really, that's what all of these ideas that I've been sharing today have been about as well. I know that, we don't want it to get at that, our kids, don't like us or they're angry with us because, we're forcing them to do, all these things. We want our kids to think well of us. And of course, as a parent, there's times when we're going to make them do things that they don't want to do. And that's just part of being a parent. Parent is also a verb, as I'd like to say. You can't just be a parent. You also have to parent. And, it's not always fun and games. But I just figured if there's any way that I can give you some strategies here today that, might be able to, be something that would be fun and engaging and keep the kids, wanting more or to do more, then that's probably a good thing. And especially, if it makes them think, wow, you know what, my mom or dad are great. They had this great idea for us. They're so much fun. That's always a nice feeling too. So there you go. That's basically, in a nutshell, the 5 opportunities or the 5 ideas. And so what I'd love to do is basically just open it.
All attendees are muted and may unmute themselves by pressing *6.
Oh, sorry, I was just unmuting people, and I wasn't sure if you could hear that or not, so I apologize for stopping. So I basically would love just to open it up to everyone and see if there's anyone that's on the live call that has a question, or if not, certainly they can be typed into the chat. And I believe on this system, if you've muted using our options, it was *5 to mute and *6 to unmute. So let me just ask, or if you take a look at the top of the screen there, if you are online, there is an option that you can click on that says My Mood, and one of the options is to raise your hand. So you could always raise your hand. So let me just throw it out there and just say, if there's anyone that has a question, something that you're curious about, just type it in now quickly, or raise your hand or unmute, and just say your first name first, and we'll be able to answer that question. If not, I might just keep talking while we wait to see if we have any raised hands or questions typed in. Yeah, all right. Well, nothing yet, which means one of two things. It either means people don't have access. I've done such a great job. People are like, wow, no, this is great. I don't have anything that I'm wondering about, because you did a good job explaining it, Rob. Yeah. But, all right, well, tell you what we'll do then is we'll just leave it that at any point, certainly from this point on, if you want to go and type something in, feel free, or raise your hand or unmute yourself and just start talking. You do have that option. *6 to unmute yourself if you muted on our system. And we'll keep on going then for the next few minutes. All right. One of the things that I did say is, if you waited around to the very end, or if you enjoyed, some of the ideas that I shared here today, then you are going to want to hear about this, and that is starting this summer in August. I am launching a brand new initiative through Youth Coach Global called Youth Coach U. And this version, or this part of it, is Youth Coach U for parents. There will be a youth side that's launched during the school year, but right now, just in advance of the school year, we're launching the parent side of things. And there's a link right here that will end up taking you to it, just down here at the bottom, and you'll be able to check that out. In fact, you know what, those of you that are on, I'm just going to, there you go, I've just copied and pasted it into the chat area as well. And at the end of this call, I'll end up dropping you here. But I'll tell you, Youth Coach U for Parents is something that, people have been asking me about for a really long time. So you know what, I've listened, and so now I'm doing it. And basically, what it's going to do is it's going to give parents access to all of the great materials, or a lot of the great materials and strategies and resources that I use with people individually. And so I know that, there are a lot of common problems that parents are facing. And it might be you can resonate with some of these. It might be that, maybe your kids are struggling in school, or maybe they fight you with homework. Maybe it's kind of like every day, it's like, oh, it's going to be a struggle. Or maybe you're just feeling really stressed about, your kids or your family, because everyone is, constantly arguing, especially around school, or maybe there's other issues going on that, you could really think that either you or your kids could really use some support with. It might be that maybe, your son or daughter is struggling with low self-esteem, or confidence issues, or just is really struggling emotionally with certain aspects. It could even be too, and especially when we get into the preteen and teen years, with peer pressure and whatnot, that, maybe they seem to be, lost or drifting or easily led. It might even just be that, some days that, the kids finally go to bed, or at some point, and you're thinking, yeah, this is not what I signed up for. And so, these are some of the reasons why you might be thinking, if there was a way that I could gain regular access, to tips and strategies and resources and whatnot, it would be great. Then again, it might also be that, things are going fairly well, and you just love to be able to get strategies and support to help your kids or yourself go from good to great, and that's also an option too. Well, through Youth Coach Global's Youth Coach U, these are some of the things that you're going to be able to, do or achieve. We want our kids to enjoy school, so if we can help them remove some of the roadblocks and definitely meet with more success and happiness. And of course, we talked about, if we can get them out of all of those sort of negative states of mind, and take them from a place of struggle, or not feeling good about themselves as a learner or as a person, and move them into, optimism and resiliency and, happiness, that is definitely what we can do through what we offer here. And how do we do it? Well, basically, every 2 weeks there is bi-weekly Q&A calls where you can actually call up and speak to me live and come with your questions and get some laser coaching and some support. And as well, for those of you that have been to our live events, the quality of our workshops, and so you'll be able to access those on a regular basis with new ones being released. And again, some of them will be online and to make it very easy depending on where you are. And if we do have something local in your area, then we'll be able to give you a discounted price perhaps of being able to attend that. And as well, we have lots of tools and various assessments, learning styles assessments, conflict management assessments. And we also have a really great one that is also like a Myers-Briggs, only it's specifically designed for kids from grade 2 to grade 12. That's absolutely brilliant. And that's something that we can put in your hands as well. And especially for those of you that have kids that are in high school or maybe even middle school and you're thinking really far ahead, that's absolutely fabulous to help with, career path planning and things like that as well. And as well, I know that, much like, other jobs, parenting can sometimes be, a lonely profession or a lonely thing, especially if you're, a single parent, and so sometimes having access to other like-minded parents or other people that you can communicate with and share strategies or, successes or, anything else that you'd like. So you'll also gain access to our private Facebook community as well. You'll get a copy of our Parenting with Intention ebook and lots of regular articles as well. So all to say, there is lots of great resources and support that's offered through Youth Coach U for Parents, and that is going to be launching, I believe it's August 25th, but if you check out the link that I sent you just in the chat here, and I'll be sending you another link via email once we finish, you'll definitely want to check that out because there are some huge savings for people that pre-register. In fact, what I'm going to end up doing is I'm going to end up giving you 1 year's access for the investment level of only a 6-month. So basically, you're going to get twice as much if you register early. So there you go. That was our quick little webinar today about avoiding summer learning loss, and I really do appreciate being able to spend this time with all of you. I know that there's many other things that you could have been doing with your time, but if nothing else, this shows just how engaged and you are as a parent and wanting to learn as much as you can ways of different ways of supporting your kids. And I know as parents we don't often get pats on the back, so here's your acknowledgement for today. You know what? Well done. It's great. So it was an honor and a privilege to be able to spend this time. I definitely hope that you'll check out that link to the Youth Coach U for Parents. It's a fabulous resource, and I know that especially with the 30-day money-back guarantee, once it launches, you'll have a full 30 days to come in, try things out, attend the live Q&A calls, check out some of the online workshops on that. And if you don't completely agree that, wow, you know what, this is like a great investment, and definitely going to be something that's going to help support you and your kids, I will give you all your money back, no questions asked, because I definitely believe in providing great value. And I only want people that are there happy and enjoying what we have to be part of the community. And so I will do my very best and work very hard to make sure that that happens for you. All right. So thanks so much, everyone. It was great to be here, and let's keep in contact. And certainly, if you haven't already, feel free to go over to the Youth Coach Global web page on Facebook, and you can sign up to follow us there if you like it, and then you'll get our updates and be able to hear about more things. And I'm pretty sure that everyone that's on this call has been able to find out about how to sign up for our various parent success lists as well. So thanks, everyone. Take care, and we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.